in there. But this is me talking to Matthew McConaughey. Hey,
Marc.
What's up, buddy?
A whole lot.
Oh, yeah? Yeah?
Oh, shit. Even if I didn't want it to be.
You're just you're locked down with 3 kids and a wife and everything's going crazy?
And my 88-year-old mother.
Your mother's there, too?
Damn right. We got the whole crew, man. We were bunkered in, man. Trying to protect a few susceptible lungs and outrun this old COVID bitch.
I got my Piggly Wiggly shirt on to honor Texas and New Mexico.
Yeah, baby. That's up in East Texas. We got those Piggly Wigglies, man. You move down to Central around Austin, you start getting HEBs. But, yeah, Piggly Wigglies are going Bible Belt barbecues and Baptist churches, parts of Texas.
Yeah, I grew up in Albuquerque, so there was a Piggly Wiggly or two there.
Albuquerque, man. We shot gold there.
Yeah?
I'm a fan of Albuquerque.
It's great.
I've never seen so many CVS's.
That's new to me. I mean, back when I like you grew up in Texas and I'm older than you, I think, but there was no CVS's when I was there. Maybe a Walgreens or two.
Well, the Walgreens or the CVS's, I was guessing my inside joke in my head was it was about Breaking Bad being around there. But Albuquerque reminds me of it was a sister city of what Austin, Texas was 25 years ago.
Right.
And also Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
Albuquerque, Tucson, Austin. It's like there's less curbs. You go down the road and just kind of pull off the side. It's just everything's a little bit more of a merge around Albuquerque.
Right, yeah, and they were big. Those are college towns. Like I used to work at a place across from the college. I loved it. I was just out in Taos a few weeks ago trying to run away from something. It kind of worked for a week.
Let me ask you this: talking about running away from something or running to something. Do you know the Monastery of Christ in the Desert there in Abiquiu?
No, but I read about it in your book.
If you get there, dude, those are some radical dudes, man. Those are some righteous radical dudes. I met that guy, Brother Christian, there. There's 13 different people. There's monks from 13 different countries there. And they're like the Oakland Raiders of monks. They didn't fit in at the very formal Benedictine monasteries. And so they were sort of outcasts. And they all go there because it's in the desert. And you're just surrounded by the Chama River and where George O'Keeffe was doing her paintings and Mother Nature's there. It's a beautiful spot, man.
Well, you got it. Like, but what is their, what's their deal? I mean, I'm a Jew, and as a wandering Jew, do I just go in and go like, help me out?
All you got to do is ring that bell, Mark. You ring that bell, they find you a cot. I promise you. Wandering Jews, all welcome, sir. A Buddhist guy is the guy who gave me a room the second time I was there. I showed up, there were no rooms, and this Buddhist guy gave me his room. He gave me his cot, and he slept on the floor. I mean, they welcome everyone.
Well, we can get to that because how you got there is sort of interesting. I ended up reading the whole book. I don't know how. I don't usually do that. But
I was going to ask you that.
What if I read it?
Well, yeah, if you really read it. I mean, it's a big ask.
No, I did read it.
Someone throws a book on me and says, "Hey, man, we read my book." I'm like going, "Damn, it better be good, man," because I got a lot of stuff to do.
I know. Well, fortunately, there is time now to do things.
Just a little bit.
So I was able, I just sort of locked in. The weird thing is like with the sort of philosophical bent and you out the beginning, you say this isn't a self-help book, but you have sort of constructed retroactively a functioning philosophy of life and sort of a hero's journey for yourself. And, I think if anyone else had done it, I would have been annoyed. But for some reason, because you're you, and it's so in your voice. I'm like, man, this guy would be annoying if it wasn't Matthew McConaughey.
Well, let me ask you this. Would it have been annoying if I didn't step in shit so much myself?
No, I don't think it's annoying. Like, I think the humility of it is fine. And I think all of it's pretty good, but it's your passion, that comes through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not being critical because I read the whole thing, and there's a couple of things that you wrote down, like your little Post-its and shit. I enjoyed the book, but there was a couple where I was like, "Oh, come on, man, really?
What? Give me one. Come on, give me one.
Well, here's one. Sometimes we have to leave what we know to find out what we know.
Yeah.
You're repeating it. Yeah. No, I get it.
No,
right.
Absolutely.
But like, are these all things that you've written?
Yeah.
And you just like, but these are things you've written your whole life. What do you put them on Post-its around your house? I mean, I have little notebooks everywhere too, but mine, none of my Post-its or notes to myself are proactive in any way. They're always grim and dark.
Well, you see, a lot of my early stuff was grim and dark and absolutely Looney Tunes. I was imploding on myself.
Yeah.
But the opening, who, what, where, when, how, why, that's the greatest question. Well, wow, that's a great existential question as an 18-year-old.
Right.
No one wants to watch that independent movie. So, they started off just complete seeking without answers. And as it went on through life, I'm still interested in the same stuff I was interested in.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I've kind of made them a little more proactive and said, hey, okay, enough with the mental meditation, McConaughey. Let's get proactive and see if we can get some affirmation to move forward with some of this shit that is on your mind.
Right.
And so that one came to me just very simple, very simply. It's kind of like that one in Peru. All I want is what I can see, and what I can see is in front of me. Whew, very simple.
Yeah.
But it came to me. That one came to me about leave what you know to find what you know in Australia. The year that I was thrown out.
A bad year.
How about that story? Did you get it? Was I going through some shit then?
No, I mean, it's just like one of those horrible things where you're young and you're sort of like, this sounds interesting. Being an exchange student in Australia, the biggest nightmare of being an exchange student is being with a family that's creepy or weird. And it was a lot. And I wasn't criticizing the book. I enjoyed the book, or I wouldn't have read the whole thing, because, you have you kind of call yourself out on a lot of stuff. You do sort of set up at the beginning that, you can be a bit of a bullshit artist. Like, like a couple of things stood out to me. It's like, I understand you stole the wood in the middle of the night to build the treehouse, but you're going to tell me that treehouse was 13 stories high?
13 stories high.
Stop it. Come on.
Start it.
It was 13 stories high, Matthew.
Ponderosa, 13 stories.
You built a treehouse in the middle of the night over a series of months. That was, that's like
over 3 months.
Swiss Family Robinson big, though. Nobody knew.
Exactly. Nobody knew. No, and like I said, I had that chamois tied around my waist.
Yeah.
And I had, the
Daisy BB gun? The nail gun.
No. The nail guns.
Yeah.
Those straps?
Yeah.
Poncho being strapped over. No, I was, Now, was it 150 feet or however many? That might have been a tad of an impression, but it was 13 stories, and I would cut around, and it was a great tree to do it. It was 13 stories high when I was done.
And you never went back to see if it was still there.
No, but you bring that up. I've had two people bringing up, going back, oh, you should go back, or someone should go back and see if there's relics of that in that tree out there, because I bet you it's been developed by now.
I mean, you went to Africa twice based on dreams. You can't go back to the fucking town. I know, based the town in Texas to see if your childhood tree house is still there.
I don't even know if I could find it, the area. I'd have to go back in my whole family and find out where was that double wide dad and I were living in at that time. I'm not even sure where it was.
That's the interesting thing about like some of this stuff. Like, he started out, the whole book opens with like a pretty, aggressive scenario of domestic violence, and you kind of move from there. You're like, they're
I wanted to set the bar real quick to say, okay, we're not just completely joking around here, and we better have some thick skin.
Well, I know, but like, how much of that was there? I mean, how old were you when you were born in Texas, or no?
Yeah, born in Texas, Uvalde, 1969.
So you've got one biological brother and one adopted brother?
Exactly. My oldest brother's 16 years older than me.
That's Mike?
That's Mike, a.k.a. Rooster, and Pat's in the middle, yeah.
And so you're born in Texas, and your dad, now, like, I just got to ask, like, because there's a process in the book where, you're kind of putting yourself together, you challenge yourself, and you kind of like, there's the type of self-awareness you have around becoming the person you want to be.
Right.
Sort of has to come from a place that, where, obviously, you had the wherewithal to think about that. So you were conscious of that, which means that, there must have been enough drama in the house with your parents and your dad. They must have been selfish enough to somehow leave you kind of longing for a sense of self.
Oh, that isn't the way I saw it. I mean, the way I saw it was, look, all those stories that on paper or, that's why I call it beauties of brutality. On paper, you go, oh my gosh, call the CPS. McConaughey must have been in therapy for the rest of his life to get over that stuff he saw. No, that's not.
No,
true.
I get
the
that.
Love.
Yeah.
Like I said, we were a super tight family, and you get the humanity I tell through those stories.
Yeah.
When someone asks me about the love in our family, the things that turn me on and make me feel so much for the way I grew up, I always tell those stories of discipline that people go, put their hand over their mouth. They're the ones that turn me on and go, no, that showed the love. That's how my mom and dad communicate. That's not how I communicate now with my wife. I don't choose to do that. It's not how I raise my kids with the discipline.
You mean you guys don't have a standoff with tools and knives and forks
12-inch blades and ketchup bottles?
Bloody each other and
and then make love on the kitchen floor.
In front of your kids?
Well, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
There was that's another thing. They were not checked. No, if you look at that story, beautiful part about how they perceived each other is neither one of them had one iota of a thought of like, oh, wait a minute. Our son, who's 4 years old, is over there. Maybe we should make this R-rated instead of NC-17. Or there was no objectifying the situation. They were the subject. They're in it. If you're there to witness it and you're in the seats, well, saddle on up, big boy. And then I chose to leave once the lovemaking started.
But you're 4. You chose to leave because it got weird?
No, because I was crying. The fight was finally over. I was so happy the fight was finally over. And the knife had been dropped and the ketchup bottle had been dropped. And all I know is whatever they were doing before, they weren't fighting.
But you don't, like on some, I get it, but on some level, I mean, you have to look like I just read a whole book of you sort of constructing who you were and who you are and being hyper aware of a system to be put in place so you can become the man you want to be. And you're going to tell me that 4-year-old that was sitting there watching shit being thrown and ketchup everywhere and crying wasn't sort of like, these people aren't going to help me exactly.
No, I thought I come 100% said these people, never even in context. No, 100%. These are my mom and dad that love me. This is a wild rodeo. And wow, I guess this is one way to do it. I mean, I didn't contextualize it at 4 years old. And I also wasn't something that I got to be older and was like, I really got to go talk that out about what that meant to me. I kind of immediately saw it as like, I brought it up to mom after that. What the hell was that about? And she just straight up, like she said, hey, that's how I needed that to communicate.
Yeah.
My finger's broken 4 times because I needed that to communicate. She started on fights. She admits it to this day.
Right. I'm not leaning on the therapy angle. I'm just leaning on the angle. I just think it's sort of interesting that you present all this chaos, which is their love and however you want to define that. It's hard to explain relationships, but also alongside of that, this book is really about self-parenting, dude. I mean, it's not about pathology. It's not like I have problems, but it's really about like, these are like, I look back at my life and this is how I became the man I'm going to be. And, you credit your folks.
Heard.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Heard. I hear you. I mean, self-parenting, self-determination. Yeah. I mean, I talk about not being reliant on fate at the same time.
Yeah.
That it's going to happen with or without us. And after it happens, it's a science. But and look, in a constant recalibration.
Right.
Just many times through the story, I think I've got my shit all together. And I about face stepping shit and see, spit the loogie in my face, proverbial loogie in my face, right when I think I'm in the cradle of God, I mean, so part of the humor and in the leaning into my own impermanence and our own impermanence of humanity is part of the identity.
Sure.
That there's not that we're never gonna find it. That's the point. So let's dance through this son of a bitch as best we can. Forgive where we can, persist where we need to, and put ourselves through hell, but also shake hands on some things. Say, hey, I'm stuck with you. You're the only person I can't get rid of.
Yeah.
McConaughey, you're the only person you can't get rid of, Marc. So hell, since we're here, shit, might as well try and get along.
Yeah, with the guy inside. So, like, where are you in Austin now?
Yeah.
You ever go out there to Opie's Barbecue in Spicewood?
Love Opie's. One of my favorite 3 tastes in my mouth ever is that sausage dipped in that jalapeno corn.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, so good.
So you know Kristen and that gang out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my place. I always go out there. They
It's
say,
killer.